Have you been dealing with hip impingement? You can't figure out the right stretch to do, or at least you're worried about the right stretch to do. Well, you're not alone. A lot of people are paralyzed by the idea of doing the wrong thing and making things worse because a lot of people are in the scenario where things really, really hurt, but they've gotten better, but they're not perfect, but they don't want to go back to what it was. I'm going to show you in this video at least one of the stretches that we use at Performance Place, which helps out with pretty high probability, and it's a very low chance of aggravating things. My name's Sebastian. I'm part of the locally world famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa, California. We specialize in hips and groins and low backs and sciaticas and so on. If you guys want more detailed information about hip impingement, we do have a webinar that's going to pop up in the corner. Please take advantage of it. It's stuff that we have specifically for the webinar. It's free. It's not YouTube stuff. It's a longer format, and so we don't do all that information here, but it's very helpful. So I'm going to bring this model up here and show you just a basic idea or context about where maybe figuring out the best stretch would be and so on. So a lot of people have been told that they should stretch their hip flexor, which is in front. This is the front of the body. This is the middle. This is the pubic bone. If you put your hip on or hand on the side of your hip, you're going to find this little bony bone right here. And then we have the back side, which is going to be like the gluteal muscles and the deep rotators and so on. Now, hip impingement by classification is an impingement problem. The impingement is when you approximate this to this, which is essentially the position that I'm in right here, approximating the torso onto a fixed femur or approximating a femur onto a fixed torso. And so it's an impingement in the front. So most people will fare okay with some type of extension maneuver. Where people tend to run into trouble is when they repeat orthopedic tests such as flexion, internal rotation, and adduction, which I'll show you on me, which is basically a duplication of the main symptom generator. It creates the impingement. So I'll show you the tests that most people do or they should be doing to assess your hip anatomy. And so you won't see all of it just because of the camera angle, but it's here, here, and here. And so I'll show you this way. So it's straight up, in, and turning. So it's a combination of three movements. So essentially some of the stretches that people are doing, such as, we'll do this one as the model, which is going to be here. This is very close. It's not all the parts, but this pigeon stretch, if you will, can create impingement on people. It can just make things even worse. It may be easier just to challenge hip extension. And so hip extension is pretty simple. It's going to be here. I'll tell you the faults that people tend to do with it is actually most people arch their back, which tends to dump the acetabular rim onto that area here. So again, it moves the pelvis on a fixed femur before you even start. But then most people, if they go into this thinker position and then just drag the leg like seaweed, it usually works okay. Okay. Now I've gotten the question before on other videos, is there a standing version of this? Yes. But it's not as easy. Is there kneeling versions of this? Yes. Is there ones on the bed? Yes. Is there endless variations? Yes. There's always endless variations to the same thing, and you can have actually someone pick your leg up and extend it for you if you're on your belly. And so generally helping to get more hip extension tends to make it so it can help out with the hip pain in general. Most people will walk around after doing a handful of these and say they feel a lot better. But to be fair, it does come back. Now, to address that point, why does it keep coming back? Well, it's because this changes structure just a little bit. It helps manipulate some of the hip capsule. It helps expose the hip to more hip extension and so on. But it doesn't change strength. It doesn't change motor control. It doesn't change muscular compensation. It doesn't change any of that stuff. It doesn't change core support, doesn't change hip strength, and so on. And so I probably said some of these already, but generally speaking, there's two parts that you're going to need to resolve your problem. There's a pain reduction or pain management, which is stretching sometimes works. Sometimes medications, sometimes surgeries, those are all forms of medications, if you will, or for pain management. But it doesn't change how you walk, doesn't change how you lunge, doesn't change how strong your hip is, these are all function changes. And so function changes take time, which is why most people require a program, not a treatment. Treatment helps to reduce pain, but it doesn't change your body over time. And so exercises that get easy after a period of time may need to be progressed or eliminated so you can actually keep adapting in the right direction versus adapting in the wrong direction, which is where your symptoms are now. And so that's the way that we usually manage it here at Performance Place. It tends to work out very well, but the hardest conversation I have with people is to separate the two things. Pain reduction is one thing, function is a different thing. They're on different timelines. In the remainder of your life, you may be doing a little bit of function stuff at the gym or in your daily habits to make it so this doesn't return. But a lot of times people's problems do return because they don't change the function. So if you guys are looking for help from us, we have virtual and in-person services. And as you can see, doing some of this stuff here, we can coach you virtually. It's usually not a problem. But if you want the best of the best, come in person. We're in Southern California. Fly in, hang out at the beach, and let us assess you. We don't guess about what to do with people. We assess what to do with people. And it comes down to stress testing areas and figuring out many different things. And so let us assess you so we can figure out what to do with you and give you a program to do. So take advantage of the webinar, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.